You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marcagiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani. Welcome back to the podcast. I got Evan Brand here today. We're going to be talking about mold, mycotoxins, and Evan's personal journey through this topic live. So let's dig in.
Yeah, what
Evan,
a hell
how we
of a
doing,
journey.
man?
I'm pretty good.
Right?
As
So
people can see, I'm in a hotel right now. So
Yeah,
this
you're
is
in a
my
hotel.
This is
And-
my
and just-
portable office.
Sorry about that. We got a little delay in the bandwidth. For listeners here, we have Evan on video as well, and we also have on iTunes. So if you want to watch the video, feel free to click below and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see us in the flesh. So yeah, Evan, you're in the hotel you mentioned. You're in the process of getting your house remediated. I'm going to just give you the floor for a few minutes here just to kind of walk everyone through your story of the last month, so to speak.
Yeah, well, really, it's like a 7 or 8 month story. I started having some blood pressure issues back in July, and you and I were talking about it. We had talked about doing adrenal support and testing. We were looking at the gut. We were looking for infections and fixing all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the blood pressure issues still remained. And so, I just now got the answer within the last month that it was mold, and it was a biotoxin problem the whole time, which would explain why I did all these other body systems like we do in our functional medicine approach, but it still wasn't enough. And that's because I have ochratoxin in my urine, which is a mycotoxin. What are mycotoxins? They're the byproducts of mold. So aspergillus and penicillium, those are bad, but it's the mycotoxins they produce that make you sick. And so when we test our clients for the urine and we're looking for mycotoxins, we're looking for stuff like ochratoxin and aflatoxin. And my ochratoxin is off the charts. The reference range is 4 to 20, and my levels are 196. And I talked with Dr. Shaw at the laboratory, and he said it's one of the highest levels he's ever seen, which I hate to break any record for something that bad because it's very toxic to the kidneys. It's a known carcinogen. It does cause cancer. So hopefully we caught this early enough that my cancer risk is going to be low because I'm working on getting it out.
And we also talked about this as well. The fact that you're removing it's also a good thing because if you weren't removing it and you were being exposed to all that, that means all that stuff's trapped in your body. So even though your detoxification system's under stress in processing it, it's at least processing it though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I probably have the gene. I'm not going to waste the money to test if I have a genetic problem with detoxing mold, but I did do some glutathione before the test. So I don't know if my level showed really high because the glutathione pushed it out, or if that means I'm truly just detoxing it. Let's just hope that it's a combination of both.
Well, if the glutathione's pushing it out, then that means, we should continue to keep you on a moderate dose of glutathione. Is that in your current protocol now for detoxification?
I'm taking a few days off. You and I were kind of talking about it over the weekend. The hard part is with the detoxification of mycotoxins, you got to be careful because, it makes you really sensitive to stuff. And I noticed that I don't sleep like at all. Like I'll just stare at the ceiling all night if I push detox too hard. So right now I'm taking a few days off glutathione. Yeah.
It's probably whipping up the adrenals and maybe just creating too much of a stress response. So it's good that we at least know that. I know we talked last week. You're like, hey, I'm doing this dose of this dose of this. This is where I'm at. And I'm like, and we noticed that as you would titrate up, there would kind of be a delay in your ability to see if you could tolerate that dose. So I know we chatted like, hey, instead of going, every day increasing, let's go every 3 or 4 days. And I think once we did that, we were able to calibrate your dose so you wouldn't detoxify too fast.
Yeah, it's a pain. Like, I don't want to go that slow because I want to get this out of my system.
Right.
And I'm kind of stubborn. Like, I want to just detox this and get it over with. But you can't, man. You have to go slow, and that's a hard lesson for me to learn.
I 100% agree. So let's start off here. First off, we did some testing, right? We did some of the ImmunoLytics Lab Testing of your house to kind of assess your mold level. So we first found that your levels were through the roof. And then let's kind of go into what some of the vectors were. Like, where in the house did we see some of these issues? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the living room showed up with a high amount of candida, which is interesting because if someone treats their gut for candida, but they don't treat their environment for candida, you actually breathe the candida in and it'll recolonize the gut. Now, I've got a whole podcast on this coming soon with JW from ImmunoLytics to explain this further. But the long story short is that candida in the environment can colonize the gut. So if you do a candida protocol with supplements, which is what you and I do all day, every day with our clients, we've got to fix their houses too. So this unfortunately adds another layer of complexity because the pets can have candida too. That's a very big vector, is pets. So there's a special type of pet shampoo that we're using on our dog to clean her, to get the mold off of her. And it's by a company called CitraSafe. And and they have this special shampoo that's been shown to get all the mycotoxins and the candida off. Because here's the problem. If you move to a new environment like I'm doing, but you bring your dog with you, that dog can just cross-contaminate your new home.
Right.
And so people are like, oh, I don't bring my possessions, but you brought your dog. So we have to address that. We've got a special mold solution that we're using to wash all of our laundry, our clothes, our blankets in. And then we're probably just going to be ditching some personal possessions. So it's unfortunate, but I'd rather have my health than have like a nice couch or whatever. I can always buy new possessions.
100%. So we ran the immunolytics test. We saw very high levels of various mold toxins. What type of mold specifically? You mentioned candida. So was it literally the candida albicans or the candida krusei? What specific candida species and what other mold species came back in that test?
I don't think it shows the specific type. I believe they give you what they call the genus, which is basically the big group. I'm pulling up the report now. Yeah, it does not say.
Ochratoxin, trichothecene,
all it says is candida. All it says is candida. It doesn't say which type. And then it shows like cladosporium, microsporum, nocardia, Weigenerella, penicillium. So some of these are new because these are not things that you and I are seeing on urine or stool testing. These are things that are only environmental. So some of this is new for you and I. We're having to become experts at this because of my situation. But the plate testing does get a lot of flack. People talk a lot of crap about it. I've got some pushback on my Facebook page sharing this story, and I've got some hate mail through email about people saying, how dare you promote plate testing, da-da-da-da-da. Air testing is the best. Look, here's the thing. Plate testing is not the best, but for the cost, you get really good bang for your buck. So yeah, just like in functional medicine, there are really good tests and then there's amazing tests. For the price and what we're getting, we're looking for the tip of the iceberg here. And that's what the plate testing provides.
Excellent. And then also some of the remediation options that you're going under, they don't have to be super expensive. There's some essential oil and some enzyme-based remediation that's on the cheaper side that can be done. And also a couple of things is we also compared your urinary mold as well. So that kind of helps. So we didn't just say, okay, let's just only go off of the plate. Let's look at urinary mold that's excreted in the urine. And then let's also look at how do you feel when you leave the house for a week or two. So I know when you got in the hotel, like in a better hotel room for a week or two and you worked there, you noticed you felt much better. And again, your stress didn't change. You were still working. You were still seeing patients, just the environment changed. So that was one aspect too, that we knew that when you changed environments, we saw a big difference symptomatically as well.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a podcast. First of all, I've got to just learn more myself to even speak on this topic at an expert level because I'm not there yet. But there's something called mast cell activation syndrome. There's another one called CIRS, CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, where your bucket is just so full that you can react to everything. And I believe I'm having a combination of both of those things happening to me because you and I had chatted last week. I went to the grocery store and The pharmacist on staff at ImmunoLytics told me to stay out of a grocery store for 3 months because of all the condensation from the refrigerators and the freezers at grocery stores contributes to high moisture. Therefore, moisture equals mold. And so I went into this grocery with my wife, and within 30 seconds of me walking in, I was so dizzy I had to turn around. So I am limited in where I can go, and it's kind of a burden, but it's really cool to be able to see, because Dave Asprey, he used to talk about how he could go into a building and say whether it was moldy in 30 seconds. And I was like, oh, really? Like, come on, you can tell me if there's mold in there. I believe him now, because if I go to certain places, within a minute or two, I get dizzy and I'm like, oh, I got to get the hell out of here. I went to a Target with my wife. This one Target was really bad. We went to a different Target. That Target was perfectly fine. I had no dizziness. So not all buildings are safe and not all buildings are dirty. So it's crazy. It really is.
And then we have some of the ear testing that can be done, which is the ERMI testing, which is still reasonable. I think that can be done well. And then we have the plate testing. And one thing is, you noticed in your office where it had a different air supply, and I think it was under a different roof, so to speak, it showed very low on the mold test. So that's at least a good thing, where it wasn't like your whole house was moldy. It was primarily your office wasn't.
Yeah, the upstairs, we have one of those little hotel units in there, kind of like a separate heating and cooling unit up there, and it didn't have any of the ductwork. See, the ductwork was the problem, because this return vent was sucking all the moldy air and just recirculating it through the house, pumping it into our closet, getting all over our clothes. And then I was wearing those moldy clothes and going up in my office. So I was cross-contaminating my office with my clothing. But now we're doing this mold solution, and I've also got a special shampoo and body wash I'm using, and that's helping too. Like when we went over to my grandmother's house, I got really dizzy. And so when we came back from her house, I just changed my clothes and I washed myself, took a shower, and I felt better. My dizziness was gone within half an hour after the shower. So these mycotoxins, they can stick to your skin. They can stick to your pets. They can stick to your hair follicles. So for me, that's more motivation for me to keep my haircut a bit shorter. Because if you have a long, big old afro of hair, there's a lot of room for mycotoxins to hide in your hair, and you put that on your pillow, and then you're breathing in mycotoxins as you sleep. So no afros for me.
Got it. And what was the name of the solution that you used to clean your pet as well as your hair?
Yeah, that's the same company, CitraSafe. Yep, and they have they call it like a bio-balancing shampoo and body wash, and they have a pet solution. And I've got a practitioner account with them, which you can get one too, and that way we can sell it to our clients, which is great.
Oh, that's good. Awesome. I'll make sure I get this on my site. Now, are you using this for your laundry now and your detergent?
Yeah, we got the mold solution too for the laundry. So we just do, I think it's like a 1 ounce serving of this solution. You put it in the washer, and that's going to take care of all the mycotoxins on the clothing, which is very, very important. I've read some of these mold stories on the forums and these Facebook groups I've been part of that, people come home and they change their clothes. And I used to think that was extreme, but I've actually felt the difference. When I come home from a moldy environment, I just put on a new set of clothes and I feel better. So this is not, this is the unfortunate thing about mold, is that people get diagnosed as crazy and they get put on psych meds, and they're not crazy at all. They've just got a multiple chemical sensitivity, mast cell activation problem going on. They're not crazy at all. They're just so sensitive, and doctors don't understand this. So they just label them as nuts and put them on an antidepressant. They're not nuts at all. Trust me, I'm in the trenches right now with this crap, and it makes you feel crazy, but you're not.
Well, it's affecting your brain, right? So obviously mycotoxins and these mold toxins can affect your gut. They're going to increase gut permeability, correct?
Yeah, and they create a leaky brain too, which is why you have to clear out your sinuses. So CitraSafe also makes another product I'm doing, which is a nasal rinse with essential oils, because if your sinuses have mold in them, that's so close to the brain, it goes right through the blood-brain barrier every time you breathe.
Exactly. So rinsing out the sinuses are important, and then also cleaning the pets, cleaning yourself as well. And then a couple other things. We were just on the topic of cleaning, shampoo, and
We
so
talked
right
about
now,
testing.
testing, great. And then right now, let's kind of go into where the mold was coming from in your house. I think we saw there was a vent in your attic that was boarded off incorrectly, and there was also a water leak behind your cabinets. Let's go into where the vectors in your house were of the mold and how's that being addressed.
Yeah, so there was a faulty, what they call a sillcock valve down in the crawl space, which connects to the front spigot of the home. So that had either froze or busted or was leaky or something, which contributed to water in the crawl space. And that water wants to evaporate back up into the sun to make clouds so that it can rain. So wherever water is, it wants to go up. So guess what's between the crawl space, and the sky, my house. So that water was evaporating from the crawl space up through the subfloor, which is creating high humidity in the home. High humidity equals mold. And so that's why it wasn't a leak in the cabinets, but there was mold in the cabinets due to all the moisture coming up from down below. So that was part of the problem. And then as you mentioned, the attic, that was contributing to mold down in the living area. So if we're trying to point fingers here, we have to point fingers at both issues. From above and below, we had moisture problems.
Interesting. Very interesting. So you're on top of it. So right now you're having the attic ventilation issues fixed. You're having the crawl space issue, I think, fixed as well. And then you're in the process of everything getting remediated via an enzyme and or essential oil method, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we're probably going to go with the essential oil blend because it is a bit more cost effective. It's about $2 or $3, I believe, per square foot versus the enzyme blend is around $5 a square foot. So it's a lot of money that can add up if you're doing the enzyme solution. And with some of the testing that we're doing, we're not really seeing that the enzyme blends are much more effective than the essential oil blends. And these are both alternative solutions. Chemical solution is the primary treatment for like black diamond and all these other generic mold killers. It's a bunch of crap. You don't want to do that. It just pisses the mold off. You don't want to do standard mold remediation. It's not safe. Bleach, all that stuff, it's bad news.
So right now you're trying to do, are you favoring the enzymes over the essential oils, or are you leaning to the essential oils over enzymes?
I'm leaning to the essential oils because I talked with JW at the lab and he looked at before and after results using the enzyme and he compared it to before and after using the essential oil blend and determined the essential oil blend is just as good, if not better, and it's half the price.
So I'm just curious, what happens to like the dead debris or the exoskeletons? I mean, does the essential oils just encapsulate all of it? There must be dead debris left over. What happens to that? How does that get cleaned up?
The best thing to do is to have a HEPA vacuum, which there's one called Myeli, which is one I just purchased. It's Miele.
Yeah, it's
really
actually,
cool.
It's close enough. It's Swedish brand. Miele.
Did I say it wrong? Miele?
Miele.
Okay.
Yeah. I love them though. I've had them for 6 years. Awesome vacuum.
Oh crap! I didn't know you had it. Cool. So that is the one that was recommended by some of these mold experts, and it's got a HEPA system on there, and it's a closed HEPA with a bag because some HEPA systems are bagless, and when you suck all that debris up on the floor, you just pump it back out into the air. So because it's a closed system, that's the highest recommended one to come in after the fogging job has been done. You come in and do the HEPA vacuum on everything, and then at that point, you should be in the clear. But for me being so sensitive, I'm probably not going to take all my physical possessions. I'm going to be super careful about what I bring with me. Even computers. Here's the bad thing. A lot of people are saying like this laptop I'm talking to you on right now, people are saying I should be getting rid of this laptop because the mold is inside of the fans and that when the fan kicks on, it's going to pump the spores back out. So I've tried to do this mold solution and spray it into the computer and use an air duster, like compressed air, and that's supposed to help. But I'm not sure yet. I haven't, noticed feeling significantly worse using the computer. So I'm just trying to gauge whether I can keep this.
I would think you could spray one side and put the Miele vacuum on the other.
That'd be cool.
Force it all the one direction. I would imagine that'd be helpful because, I mean, you're going to pull a lot of that mold out with that vacuum.
That's a good idea. I should try that. I haven't done that yet.
If you can just control one side, because there's got to be vents on both sides. I think you have a Mac, right? So you just control one side.
On this Mac, the vents are just right where I can feel it. The fans are on right now. The fan is right where the screen connects to the keyboard, right in this little V in the 90-degree angle. That's where the fan vents are. So I need to try to just suck it up and hopefully
you could probably just open the thing up and then just vacuum it out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I could. There's like these weird proprietary screws on here. If I could unscrew the thing and then vacuum it out, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. And so right now, so you were saying, I missed that last part again. So, we just said that the HEPA filter will be kind of the best way to get it up because it's a closed loop. It's not going to pull the mold back out like a lot of other vacuums may. Yep. Good. So Miele is good.
So that's the end. That's like the kind of like the functional medicine order of operations. That's kind of the mold order of operations. This is last step, suck all the crap up that you pulled out of the sky.
I know a lot of people are asking, well, we know that you're moving as well. Now, you're not moving strictly because of the mold, right?
No, I mean, you've been telling me, hey, Evan, your house is going to be too small when you have 2 kids. And I'm like, dang it, you're right, because our house, we built it too small. It was a 1,600 square foot house. We just built it too small, thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, we're minimalist. We don't need any room. But with a home office and with 2 kids running around, it's going to be a bit crazy. So I'm kind of using this mold thing as the final straw for me to say, hey, I should have listened to Justin and built a bigger house, but now I'm just going to have to purchase a bigger house.
And which is great too, because you got that house all remediated for the next person that comes in. So they're going to have a great living situation as well. I know a lot of people, they're kind of like under the wraps. They kind of like, okay, I'm not going to remediate, and they just kind of move on and they let it slide under the radar. So it's good that you got this house all cleaned up too. That's great.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep at night if I were to try to do that. I've heard a lot of Airbnb people, the reason they put their houses on Airbnb, according to these mold experts, is because the house is too moldy and they don't have the money or the interest in remediating the home to sell it. So they just put it on Airbnb instead, because it ain't like Airbnb is going to say, hey, do you have mold in your house? Yes or no? Right. Yes, you do. Oh, okay, you can't rent it. So all these people on these mold forums and Facebook groups are talking about how they can't go to Airbnbs because so many of them are contaminated by people trying to pull a fast one and make money on a moldy house, which is just totally just freaking wrong. But that's society. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. And again, there's a significant percent of the population that is not going to react. Like I don't really react to these issues. So, I mean, as long as it's not something that's visible, right? Like black mold in the bathroom or something like that, most people are probably going to be okay. But, like someone like yourself or Dave Asprey, you're going to just have to be more choosy in where you stay for sure.
Yeah, and to be clear, we didn't see any visible mold, but I also wasn't a trained eye. So after the mold experts came in and showed me what I was looking at, I did see it. It was just a white, fuzzy looking stuff in our cabinets. I mean, it just looks like dust, but it wasn't dust. It was millions and millions and millions of spores. But it wasn't like, oh my God, black mold. No, this was just a light dusting of snowflakes is kind of what it looked like.
Totally. And then did you have any smell, any yeasty kind of smell or moldy kind of smell in your house at all?
You know what? I didn't smell anything, but my wife said that when the heat would kick on, she would smell some smell coming out of the vents. I never smelled it though. So maybe that was it. Maybe that was something else.
Okay. And then I'm just curious, what's your take on some of the mold disinfectants for like mildew in the bathroom? Do you have an issue with those?
I think the enzyme solutions are going to be a good,
That's the better one.
First step, or the essential oil blends. There's a mold concentrate that you can use that you take like 1 cup and you turn it into like a gallon or something. You mix it with water and you can wipe materials down, put it in a spray bottle. They've got tried and true lab testing on that. So that is something that you and I are going to have to start carrying because it's a great product and it's not too expensive.
Yeah, I personally don't mind any of the mold and mildew stuff in the bathroom personally, just because it's being sprayed, scrubbed, and then rinsed down. So it's not like it's sitting there, later, where I think the benefit of the essential oil stuff is you could spray it, let it sit. And you don't have to worry about rinsing it because it's non-toxic.
Exactly. And, if somebody were very sensitive like me, I would probably just wear one of those 3M N95 masks, those particulate masks. Those would be good enough to help if you're concerned about you getting sick trying to clean some of this stuff. There's also another filter you can get. It's a bigger respirator system called a P as in Paul P100. And that's a type of filter that does filter out mold spores. So you can do that for safety if you had to.
Interesting. And also, what's your take on the corn chromium compound as well that does more of the encapsulation of the mold? Thoughts on that?
I don't have a clue about it. I can't speak on it. I'm not educated on it.
No, I've seen it recommended by a few remediation specialists where it's really just designed to encapsulate the mold and prevent it from spreading and such.
Oh wow. No, I've got no idea.
More non-toxic. Okay. Well, next time you get on the phone with JW, ask him about corn chromium.
I will.
Excellent. And then let's just talk briefly about a couple of the compounds, some of the ingredients that we're using right now to help you on the detoxification side. So what are some of these actual compounds? What are they?
Yeah, so conventional treatment is something called cholestyramine. I'm not using that. That's a pharmaceutical. They have another one called Welchol. I'm not using that either. I'm just doing a formula from Beyond Balance called Tox Ease Bind, which is a blend of shilajit and charcoal. And I'm actually feeling really good with that. I told you today and yesterday are the first days, thank the Lord, I'm actually not as dizzy as I have been for 6 to 7 months. I'm actually starting to get better with my dizziness. Now, if I detox too fast, then I don't get, then if I detox too fast, I get more dizzy. If I detox slower, I'm less dizzy. So it's a balance. So charcoal is one piece of the puzzle. Shilajit's another piece of the puzzle. And then in terms of antimicrobials. You and I both have our own custom blends of antimicrobials. So I'm mixing and matching things. I won't mention exact specific protocols right now because this is all an experiment, and I don't want somebody to hear this and think, hey, Evan's protocol is the protocol I should do. But let's just say I'm doing antifungal herbs. So some of it includes like olive leaf,
Clove, right?
Yeah,
Podiarco.
I'm doing some clove. I'm doing some Paul de Arco. I'm doing some French tarragon leaf. I am doing a little bit of oregano, cycling on and off of it. But I'm not going to say a full protocol yet because maybe this isn't the right step. I'm still experimenting and rotating in a lot of things. So I don't have like, here's the thing you should be doing on paper yet.
We do have some good binders though, right? We have some of the activated charcoal, some of the minerals that you mentioned as well. And then also you're still incorporating some of these modified citrus pectin as well.
I haven't. I've got it at home. I would like to do some of the citrus pectins, but I have it at the house, and I'm in this hotel, so I just haven't been taking that yet. But yeah, that'd be another good solution. I do have some zeolite products as well. Those are also supposed to help with mycotoxins. I'm just not currently taking them.
How about the glutathione too?
Yeah, I am doing the glutathione. Yeah, I'm off right now for a few days, but I have been on that consistently at about 300 to 600 milligram per day.
Very cool. So I think just if anyone's listening to this and there's noticing some correlation, dizziness, weird neurological symptoms, definitely reach out to your functional medicine provider. If you don't have one, reach out to myself or Evan, and let's get your house tested. Let's potentially get you tested. Let's look at, utilizing some detoxification protocols to help the gut, to help the nervous system, the immune system, and get some of these toxins out. Because once you have a leaky gut, you got a leaky brain, all of the inflammation that goes to the brain is going to create neurological issues, either mood or brain fog or just fatigue or lethargy. And I think it's really important to highlight the fact that when you throw more antigens, which is a foreign compound, more stressors, you fill up that stress bucket. It's like my coffee mug where it can overflow. It's kind of like you walk around with a coffee mug and someone fills to the top. You're like, you got to be like a little mummy as you walk around holding it, versus if you fill it down here, you kind of have a little more wiggle room to move. And that's kind of with your situation right now with your bucket, right? You mentioned your stress bucket. That antigenic bucket is just so full. So you add a little bit of mycotoxins from your house, it's like, boom, you're overflowing.
Yeah, it's not fun. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, but it is a good experience. I mean, a lot of people relate to you and I because of how much suffering we've gone through. You've gone through issues with Hashimoto's and gut infections. I've gone through gut infections. I've gone through candida, and now I'm going through mold. So, I guess at the end of the day, it will make us better practitioners for us we have to become experts on this, because there's only a few docs in the U.S. that we can even look up to learn this information. So a lot of this is really just an experiment, and I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to have voices like we do to spread this information, because there are so many people suffering. If you just Google mold symptoms, Shoemaker, Richie Shoemaker's got a list of about 39 different mold symptoms, anything from fatigue to ringing in the ears, which I had, to diarrhea, which I had, to insomnia, which I had, and my blood pressure problems, and cold hands, cold feet. If your hands and feet are cold, that was me. That's also a biotoxin problem. Multiple chemical sensitivity, fragrances, perfumes, car exhaust. That multiple chemical sensitivity is a byproduct of biotoxin exposure. You don't just magically become sensitive to smells. You become sensitive to smells after you get exposed to mold. And that's weird, because my wife didn't used to be sensitive. Now somebody's perfume, she's like, oh my God, their perfume. She used to not be like that. And that's because she was living in the moldy house with me.
Yeah, and one thing to highlight, a lot of these mold symptoms, we've talked about this before, it's a rabbit hole of functional medicine, meaning lots of people have other issues that aren't the mold is not their primary issue. Now, just to be clear, with yourself, Evan, we dug deep and addressed lots of other issues, and we had you kind of at a place where you were stabilized until this mold exposure happened in the last year. So the mold wasn't the chief issue years ago. It's a relatively new issue, but we had cleaned other issues out leading up to this. So it's important that everyone listening work with your functional medicine provider to make sure you deal with all of the key core adrenal, hormone, thyroid, gut, detox issues first, because so much of these mold symptoms, if they are there, can improve just by dealing with the foundational tenets of functional medicine. Many people may not have to go to that extreme. With Evan, all that was already done, and then mold came later on when he moved into this house and had the leak and had the ventilation issue, but it was something that was addressed later, not before. Now, again, Why would we address it sooner rather than later? If you move into a new house and you notice you start feeling bad, if you notice that when you're leaving your house for a week or you're out of your house for a week on business or whatever, you feel better, then we may want to dive in and do some testing, but you still got to deal with the foundations of functional medicine. You can't ignore that and just go to the mold. I see too many people do that and they still don't get all the way better.
Yeah, same with Lyme disease. And I'm so glad you brought that point up. This conversation you and I are having today is a culmination of 5+ years of personal work on me. I've been in the trenches fixing everything else for a long time. Now I'm approaching mold versus somebody just now hearing this conversation. You can't go from a standard American diet, tons of gut infections, bad sleep. You're on your smartphone at 1 a.m. You're working night shift. You feel like crap. You're just going to go straight to mold. You're probably not going to win. You got to do the other foundations first, but that never gets old to hear that refreshing message again.
100%, man. So anyone listening to this and they're not quite sure where to go, make sure you go head over to evanbrand.com or justinhealth.com and schedule a consult with myself or Evan so we can dive in deeper and come up with a strategy plan for you. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can kind of chime in here live with us and also potentially get some of your questions answered with some of the live Q&As we do throughout the week. So make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell that allows notifications so you know when our content's coming up. Subscribing is not enough. You got to hit the bell as well, which is next to the subscribe button. And give us a review on iTunes. We appreciate it. justinhealth.com/iTunes and then evanbrand.com. And how would they go to your iTunes page, Evan?
I believe it's evanbrand.com/iTunes as well, but let me confirm.
Good. Perfect.
Let me confirm here. We've got, let's see here. If you just Google Evan Brand iTunes, it'll pop up. I don't have that link set up. The evanbrand.com/iTunes won't work. Just Evan Brand iTunes and find us. Between us both, we've got over 60,000 people subscribed on YouTube channels, hundreds and hundreds of reviews on iTunes, but it's still not enough because this information is not mainstream. You go down the street and talk to some random guy on the street corner about mycotoxins. He's got no clue what you're talking about. So Justin and I, we may get a little bit of ego boost if we say, 50,000 subscribers, but that's still a drop in the bucket. We have millions and millions of more people to help with this issue. This is a very underdiagnosed and underappreciated problem in the modern healthcare industry.
Well, we appreciate it. Give us a share, give us a thumbs up and a like. I'll be back later on this week for more live Q&A, so make sure you check in here with me. And you guys have a phenomenal day. We'll talk real soon. Take care.
Take care. See you. Bye.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com.